on account of the fact that this morning I am everywhere. Let me see if I can even do this. Do you know? I don't know whether it's going to work. Here we go. So we're on StreamYard and we are live on Facebook. We are live on LinkedIn. We are live on X, on Twitch, and on where else? I think that might be it. No, and on Instagram. There we go. We've managed it. And actually, I've done something different today. I'm not sure whether the people that I've invited will be able to get here, or whether they'll be able to click on the link, or what's going on. But either way, we are recording and we are live as well. So thank you for those that are here. Hey, I see who's in the audience. It's great to see you. And we're doing it a little bit different today. We've looked at what we're going to do, and actually had a bit of a morning. Haven't felt very well this morning, and I was a little bit unwell. And a colleague said to me, "Are you going to send me the link for Belonging in Business?" And I thought, well, I would do if I remembered it was Saturday. So Belonging in Business is definitely a symbiotic relationship this morning, because if it wasn't for somebody else, I wouldn't have even realised it was Saturday morning. And I think that it has to be about symbiosis, because I've been talking and thinking and moving through the idea of symbiosis and space this week. I think that inclusion is important. We need inclusion, right? If we haven't got inclusion, then unfortunately, I can't get on the tube. Remember, we can put a man on the moon, but we can't put me on the tube. Why is that? Well, I'm MJ, I'm Mandy-Jayne, and I use a wheelchair. I've been using a wheelchair for almost 2 decades, and that means that I think it's about time that I was allowed to move through the world. Well, irrespective of whether I'm on wheels or whether I use legs. We've had wheelchairs for a long time, and we know they exist a bit like cars. If we didn't have cars, I wouldn't expect roads. If I've got wheelchairs, I'm expecting ramps, and I haven't got them yet. So don't get me wrong, inclusion is important, but it isn't the be-all and end-all. Here I am saying I haven't got ramps, but it isn't the be-all and end-all. It isn't. Because actually belonging, which is the feeling that I'm after, I don't know about you, requires, oh, do you know what? Done it again. Thanks for letting me know. Done it again, Matt. It's good to just turn up, isn't it? I do all these things. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It's great the fact that we are only a minute past, and I've been babbling on the other forms of LinkedIn, other forms of social media for the last couple of minutes. But I was just waiting for the important people to arrive, right? Probably myself. So what I was saying, let's get back to it, is that this morning I wasn't very well, and it took symbiosis. It took somebody else to let me know that I should even be here. And for those of you on every other form of social media, you'll have seen me restart and restart again and again and again. But do you know what? It's always grounding to make a mistake, and I make them again and again, almost on purpose, I think. But we were talking about belonging in business, and the fact that I believe that's done through our constellations. It's something I've had to learn this week. I'll get onto that in a minute. But the first thing I said was that actually we need more than inclusion, which is unlike me. I believe in inclusion because I want to be able to get on the tube, irrespective of the fact that I use a wheelchair. And I was saying that I wouldn't expect roads if we didn't have cars, but we've got them. And so as we've had wheelchairs for a pretty long time now, I'm expecting there to be ramps. But it's not all about ramps. In fact, it's not all about inclusion. In fact, it's not even about things. It's about space. How do we create space? Well, we create space through our constellations, and I'm going to get onto that. But the symbiosis of our relationship is so important that I am, well, flabbergasted at what I've learned this week. So this week, I'm Mandy-Jayne. For those that don't know, I'm MJ. This week, I've started on my local authority placement. Now, this is not the first placement. It won't be the last. However, it is quite an important one. And we have something next week on Valentine's Day, actually. And it's with an organisation that comes in and does a form, well, lots of forms of therapy. But it's through the art of drama. So the reason for this morning's room title and this week's study actually is belonging in business through constellations. And I've just talked about inclusion. We need more than inclusion. Belonging transcends beyond inclusion. It's about creating space. Now, I never thought I'd be saying that. How do you create space? Well, it's a way and a space, a way of a space. It's a way of helping ourselves and other people to feel their values. When we create space, we can reflect. And when we reflect within the space that we're in, then we can connect to what can only be called our mission. When I'm talking about our organisation, our mission, our vision, but most of all our people. This space, this reflection, this belonging, this symbiosis, it supports me to feel intrinsically connected to my mission and to the people that I'm with. This sense of belonging helps create a culture of trust and innovation and resilience. And that's what I'm trying to do with myself, to be honest. So I've been learning this week about constellation theory. It comes from family theory. It comes from psychodrama. It comes from all of these theories. But it's about all of our elements are interconnected. And in business, that also means our organizational cosmos. Now, Satira, I believe is how we pronounce her, Virginia, was a prominent figure in drama and family therapy. She emphasized the importance of self-worth and communication. And I think her work underscores the fact that belonging begins with our interconnection, our inner connection, and our acceptance of ourselves, of oneself. And that is such an important principle in business, because authenticity and self-awareness definitely enhances leadership, teamwork, and organizational culture. And before I talk about the theory, I want to read the text that Virginia wrote in 1955. It's a famous meditative text. I'm sure you know it, and if you don't, then welcome. But for those that do, just close your eyes and listen. Let me present the text of this meditation. I've got the book here for those that are seeing me on other versions. It's called Drama Therapy, Psychodrama and Family Constellations. So I hope you're ready. I am me. There is no one else in the world like me. Everything that comes from me is genuinely mine. I own everything that is within me. My body, my feelings, my mouth, my voice, all my actions, both for myself and for others. My fantasies, my dreams, my hopes and my fears all belong to me. All my triumphs and successes, all my failures and mistakes. Since I possess everything within myself, I can understand myself and be friends with myself in all my parts. I know that there are aspects of me that puzzle me and many others that I do not yet know. But as long as I am friendly and loving, I can confidently and hopefully seek solutions to the puzzles and ways to find out more about myself. No matter how I appear or sound, no matter what I do or say. And everything I think and feel at this moment is genuinely me. If later some parts of how I looked, sounded, thought and felt turn out to be unfitting, I can discard that which is unfitting, keep the rest, and invent something new for that which I discarded. I can see, hear, feel, think, and speak. I have all the tools I need to survive, to be close to others, to be productive, and to find meaning and order in the world of people and things. I own myself, and therefore I can design myself. I am me, and I'm okay. Virginia Satir wrote those words, and this morning those words reached back from 1955 all the way to 2024 and spoke to me deeply. Next week, on Valentine's Day, I go to a whole day where the organisation Geese Theatre produce performances using masks usually for individuals that have experienced the prison system, or those that have experienced some form of deep trauma. Drama therapy creates an avenue for exploring our personal and interpersonal dynamics. They use different roles and scenarios and narratives. They use masks, and they use acting out our family constellations, our family interactions. It's a therapeutic form that can be used in business through role play, through storytelling, through reading, as I just did then, and other types of experiential learning. And what I've realized is that this that I'm doing here is a type of experiential learning, if only I can let go of my ego. And every time I make a mistake, every time I don't unmic, every time I haven't gone live on some form of social media somewhere, and every time I get on and then I look back at what I've done, then I realize I have a deeper understanding of myself and others through that. And indeed, it is fostering a sense of belonging. It supports me in the resolution of my internal conflicts. It builds empathy for me as I make more and more mistakes and realize that I'm the only one keeping the score. It fosters a sense of belonging with me, in me, about me. Remember, it's all about me. Honestly, belonging in business, belonging in society, belonging in the world, belonging to ourselves, for me, it's about the art of intuitive exploration. I am intuitively exploring who and what and how I am through the reading that I do, through the studying that I do, even through the crazy angel lady cards that I carry out for myself, through the addition of great things that I take to help my thinking, my processing, through the food that I eat. I cleanly eat now. I don't eat gluten, wheat, dairy, yeast, egg white, flat fish, but that's not important. What I do eat is what's important, which is all of those beautiful colours. If God made it, eat it. If man made it, avoid it, right? It's through the art of intuitive exploration, the process of winging it, we could say, leaning into my uncertainty with openness and curiosity. I'm leaning down because I have a device here. It's called a lumen. I'm just showing it to people in case they want to know. It's how I track what I eat and what happens to what I eat. I just started with the Zoe app. I'm comparing the two, the Lumen and the Zoe, because I am intuitively exploring how I can understand what my body is doing. Winging it, the art of intuitive exploration, that's what I'm calling it, because we know that's what it is, needs to happen with openness and curiosity. It's also a massively powerful method for personally growing and healing. And I had some healing to do. I still have some healing to do. But to do that, I've got to let go of my preconceived ideas and allow my intuition and my consciousness to guide this journey. It's only when I let go that my consciousness can take over. This approach creates innovation. It helps me be adaptable, and it forms genuine connections, and it doesn't matter whether that's with one person or a million people, because I have no idea the effect of what I'm saying today on whom or where or when. For this is me screaming into the void. It's recorded, it is on LinkedIn, it's all over social media, but that most important person it's affecting, yeah, you get it, me. When we navigate as individuals and teams, we are co-creating ourselves and one another. Co-creation is massive in social work. The co-creation with people means that they will afford change. If we do it about people, without people, guess what? They're not interested because they're not involved. So I'm involving myself in this. I'm not preaching because I've got nothing to preach. I'm usually preaching to the converted, even if I do try and do that. So I'm here to integrate my own need for creativity, authenticity, healing, and belonging. And for me, constellation theory begins that. And for those that don't or haven't read about it, please think about it. I'm looking forward to next week, not only from a position of watching experts at play, purposeful play, but also from my own confidence to understand that actually I am enough. I wish to enact and carry out and engage and enthrall and inform and empower others through these types of experiential learning. Satia's focus on self-belonging and those pathways through drama therapy offer us a holistic way to foster belonging in business. You know, it's not an area that's been brought into business yet, but I think it's vital, because the journey does start with me. It starts with each of us as an individual, as we recognize our own values and our own value in our organizations, nurturing those inner connections to ourselves. Because when we have to wing it, which is what business is, then we have to embrace the unpredictable flow. But when we heal and grow, well, in the business of understanding our constellation and how we fit with that authenticity uplifts everyone, but it also gives us that grounding, that confidence of who and what and how we are, because it's practiced. And it doesn't matter what happens, right? Because what happens. We are solid in spite of what happens. We have learned to dance in the rain. In fact, we've learned to celebrate when the rain comes. In essence, our quest for belonging in business requires both ourselves and each other. It's a personal and a collective endeavor. It's about creating those environments that honor individuality whilst we weave that shared narrative of connection and purpose. I have to be allowed to be who I am, and so does everybody else. And I think that's where business goes wrong. Because I think that through this lens, we can have vibrant communities where we all feel valued and understood and integral to the collective success. I have been working out this week who and what and how I am in relation to my new position. And I'm working across 2 areas, and both areas don't have a lift. And all of the professionals live upstairs. I say all of the professionals, all of the managers, leaders, social workers, therapists, they all live upstairs. All the care facilitators live on the ground floor with the individuals we support. And in one of the organisations, a couple of the managers do. For the third sector, the voluntary organisation that I'm working within. But in frontline services, all the staff are upstairs and all the individuals we support are downstairs. And that does not foster a sense of belonging. However, what it's done for me is give me a unique perspective, because I am downstairs. I haven't got a choice, and neither do they. And that means that we're mixing, we're belonging, we're connecting. and we're purposefully playing. Because although I have an office and I have a laptop and a phone and I have meetings and all of those things, actually, I'm training to work with people, not paper. So whilst I'm understanding the paperwork, I'm learning to work amongst the people and with the people and play. So we purposely played at a new game of cards last week, and I smashed it. The first half, only because everybody around me allowed me to play. Everybody around me taught me what to do with my hand. Everybody next to me showed me the best way forward. Everyone in that game was vying for me to win that hand, to win that particular instance, to go in winning. They were the individuals that I was supporting. They were the individuals that had, they're all physically disabled, some with learning difficulties, they're adults, and some of them have been going to that day centre for 20, 25 years. But I'll tell you what, never have I felt so encouraged, so accepted, so included, so wanted, so welcomed, and so honoured. That's belonging. Whether it's in business, whether it's in your family, whether it's in your fun times, whether it's when the people that you meet with for hobbies, that's the welcome that you want. That's belonging. When fostering belonging is about everybody being at the table, that's when I believe we've created a universe of interconnectedness. So constellation theory says that actually there are profound insights into our family and our family dynamics and what has happened for and to us, not just now, but in previous generations. So the phrase, the sins of the father are revisited on the children, has never been more true for me since I've started to study Virginia Satir. The idea that the things that have happened to our family members in history and time gone are important to us now is incredibly powerful. I have realized that I've been the generation that has fought the alcoholism in our family. My parents didn't fight it, they lived with it. I've learned to accept that about my personality, but how to make choices is about me understanding my connectedness to the past and my belief that I am good enough not to be an alcoholic. I am worthy of that status. I am worthy to be free of addiction. I am worthy to be capable of making my own choices about the decisions I make, whether or not it's raining. I've learned to dance in the rain because I watched my parents not do. I've learned to dance in the rain because every time something happened that threw me or scuppered my plans, afterwards I realized that I'd allowed it to happen. I'm learning to dance in the rain because if I want to move forward towards who I am and not what I believe I should have been, if I want to accept me and not just the idea I thought my parents had of me, if I want to accept my parents and not just the preconceived idea everybody told me a parent should be, until I do that, it's going to be very difficult for me to achieve that symbiosis that I saw in that group of individuals that we support on Tuesday when I arrived in their midst. I was accepted, and that acceptance allowed me to be exactly who I am. And believe me, it's one of my aims for this placement, is to not hide, is to not mask, is to not facade, is to not pretend. I wish to be respectful and honourable and allow everybody to be comfortable around me, but equally, I cannot be who I'm not. I can't put on those performances for everybody because it's too exhausting, and I'm there all week. It's going to be easy to be able to see me if I'm hiding, because those fronts will crack. There'll be times when things happen that trigger me, and I will change if I'm facading, and I don't wish to do that, particularly not for the individuals that I'm supporting who are experiencing much challenged times. through the fact that their brain in one of the areas is diminishing. So I'm working with adults who are experiencing forms of dementia. And in Wales, there's going to be nearly 56,000 people with Alzheimer's by 2040. That's a lot of people to serve the needs of. And actually, we all need to be dementia friendly. Because let's face it, dementia is being called form 3. There we are, type 3 diabetes. Dementia, MS, all of those. Type 3 diabetes. So our constellation is incredibly important, because how my dad acted in his life may have been how I chose to behave, or how I felt I should behave, or indeed how I believed I was good enough to behave, because maybe I thought I needed to die like he did. Maybe there are family members that have died in your family that you feel that you only have that as an end result. Maybe, well, my granddad and everybody in my family died of X, Y, and Z. That's going to be my way. Honestly, when you look at constellation theory and you look at family theory and you look at the stories we tell ourselves and the games that we play and the unresolved conflict that we carry out in our lives and with each other and in our families, I realize that a universe of interconnectedness is all there is. Actually, we have an intricate web of relationships, and our individual sense of belonging with our organizational sense of the cosmos in our family constellation means that we are indelibly, intrinsically, and irrevocably connected to one another. And that does impact on how we feel about ourselves if we are not really aware of how that constellation plays out. Virginia Satir is a lady who I am going to lean into the learnings of. Not only her, but Bert Hellinger, who created family constellation theory. He was a priest. He took his vows in 1952, and he was sent to South Africa, where he began his missionary work with the Zulu tribes. He became a school teacher and got a Bachelor of Arts. And he combined his priestly activities for 16 years in South Africa alongside that teaching, that ministry. And he was the director of a school for the Zulu people, and he held a diocese area of 150 schools. He studied the Zulu culture, their language, and their rituals. And many of his therapeutic practices, it would appear, come from those ancient rituals inherent in their culture, as opposed to just the drama theory. Now, in constellation theory, Hellinger carried out some phenomenal work, including primal screaming and helping individuals through transactional analysis work through those family dynamics. Some of the stories of Hellinger's work is too dramatic to share here now, but I will move forward with that in the coming weeks. Basically, with some family understanding and some theory of interaction and some understanding of neurolinguistic programming and of what enacting does. When we enact, when we embody, when we engage ourselves in the act of becoming by doing, i.e. this right here, right now, that I'm doing with you, then the art of intuitive exploration allows us to really uncover what is in the ether, not just what is within us, but what is between us and what is from us and what has come from what we call those generational challenges. In constellation family therapy, the actors in the therapy play out the unresolved trauma of the generations before them. And in fact, those actors uncover the unresolved trauma that's happening between those family members in the cosmos of the history of their interaction. There is more uncovered through what I've always talked about being holism. The idea that the sum of the parts is greater than the whole is playing out in many forms of investigation that I am inquiring into, and Zulu tradition would seem one of them. I'm grateful to Helena. I'm grateful to Satir for their investigations for me. If they hadn't studied their entire life and brought together what was their experiencing, then I wouldn't be able to bring that into my study and my work and my commitment now. Next week, as I watch expert practitioners work with us for the whole day with masks and activities, I am already prepared because I've involved myself in this theory. I've read of it. I'm speaking about it. I'm investigating it. I'm watching videos. Why? Well, because I want to make the best of what I get to have the opportunity to do next week. That involves preparation, you know, the 6 Ps. Piss poor preparation prevents piss poor for performance. No, perfect preparation prevents piss poor performance, something like that. 6 Ps or 7 Ps, all the Ps in the world. Don't forget your Ps, don't have a pee on the floor. That's what happens if one falls off your plate, right? I wasn't being rude. So I have had to create perfect preparation to prevent my poor performance. And this morning, in spite of myself, I have created, I think, a reasonable performance. And it's interesting how preparation can prevent also performance, because if I over prepare, then what I find is I don't let go. My intuition and my unconsciousness or my consciousness doesn't get expressed. What happens is I only think with my frontal lobe and I process it cognitively. I don't actually process it with all of my emotions, my spirituality, my felt sense, my intuition, my presence, as well as my understanding. My authenticity and my self-awareness can be hampered by over preparing. But having an understanding of what I'm doing and why, well, that gives me a great avenue for exploring those dynamics, my personal and the interpersonal dynamics that are going to play out on Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday, is that right? Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I think. What is it? 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, Wednesday, isn't it? I think. Next week, anyway. And I'm moving this week. I'm moving into my flat finally. My bed arrives on Monday. And I've just found that IKEA are delivering on Sunday the shelves that go into my office that are going to be behind me in my new studio, which is already full and looking good. I just need the shelves behind. So I am excited about this stage of my self-discovery. This morning we're in Belonging in Business. It's Saturday, the 10th of February. I've not even got to the date, although I was talking about Valentine's Day. So I think that as well as Satir, we should really think about how we love ourselves this week, not just about the power of self-belonging, but the power of being open about that. You know, I don't think it's easy in society. I was with somebody yesterday in a meeting who everybody had to introduce themselves, and I heard them all minimizing everything they did, even though it all sounded fantastic. You could see the humility amongst everyone, and that's wonderful. And the leader of that meeting, which is about developing friendly dementia-friendly businesses across Wales. And indeed, different dementia-friendly individuals across Wales, because dementia is everybody's affair, just as inclusion is. Imagine if your mum or your brother or you got on a bus but didn't know where you were going, had forgotten to get dressed and weren't really sure where your purse was. How it would be great if somebody would find out if you were okay. With those 56,000 people in Wales, all experiencing various forms of that loss of awareness and of belonging, it's very important that we create dementia-friendly individuals, businesses and services that will serve us all, as many are going to be moving towards those kinds of ways of of our moving towards the end of our lives. It's an epidemic. Dementia is an epidemic. So in that meeting where we were designing and collaborating on how we help people to know the 40%, I think it is, of ways that you can be half as affected almost. There's 40% of the disease that is controllable through the things that we can learn. The Magnificent Seven, right? Eat right, move right, think right, all those things. And as we were in this meeting and people were expressing who and what and how they were, the leader said, we need to actually say what we do because we're just so humble. We work with people and it makes us feel humble because of what they have to go through. But that doesn't really help us. It doesn't help us when we're storytelling, when we're role playing, when we're trying to build empathy between each other. It's difficult for us to understand what each other does unless we share that. And that definitely fosters a sense of belonging. So I tried very carefully to share some of who I am in order that people could connect with me, and share some of what I do in order that people could understand where I was coming from. That meeting was really good because as I shared, other people did a little bit about themselves. Last week in Inclusion, which is where we are on a Monday night for those that don't know, and last week in Inclusion, we wrote each other's bios. We spoke to each other about each other, and then one another wrote about the other. Why? Well, it's just easier to say who and what and how you are when somebody else is saying it because of that humility. But understanding who we are and celebrating that is just as important as the art of being humble. It's just as important that when we learn to dance in the rain, that we know who's dancing in the rain, right? And why we're dancing. Because it's okay. The rain can come and we are still enough. A bit like I said from the very beginning, that actually maybe in constellation theory, there's an element of the individual in therapy believing that their fate is that of their ancestors, is that of those that they love. That's the only thing that they're worth. Maybe they don't feel enough. And that's why we have to celebrate who and what and how we are, as well as understanding that we have conflicts to resolve. And that we do that through our experiential learning, through these storytellings, through our role play, through fostering a sense of belonging. I was winging it last week. I had to lean into that uncertainty with openness and curiosity. If I'd gone in closed, tight-lipped, notebook in front of me, suited and booted, being the social worker trainee that I am, maybe I wouldn't have been able to let go of my preconceived notions. Maybe I might not have been able to allow my intuition and my consciousness to guide that journey. Maybe I couldn't have begun encouraging that innovation, the adaptability, the genuine connections as I moved and my teams did through the challenges and opportunities of the week, with all of the creativity and authenticity that I saw. Maybe that's how we integrate our own healing and create our belonging. Satya said that self-belonging was the most important thing to achieve. Belonging back to ourselves. Belonging to ourselves because we accept every dirty little secret of ours, every terrible happening, every opportunity we've missed, every time we didn't show up for ourselves. But as we clearly are able to heal and grow through that, that creates a culture of belonging with ourselves, and then with our family constellation, and then inevitably with our business constellation. It means we create environments that honour our own individuality, not just those of our colleagues. When I listened to each of their snippets about who they were, I noticed the things that they enjoyed. I've recognised that my director enjoys playing golf, that his director has a family and a dog and they go walking together. I know that a colleague of mine really enjoys knitting and that she uses that to relieve her stress. Through this lens, I believe we can transform ourselves into vibrant communities, because it isn't just about the individuals that I support feeling belonging. It's about the team that I work within. And then eventually for that team to integrate with everybody and for us to all be on the same page, singing from the same song sheet, aiming for the same endeavours, and all learning to dance in the rain. I want a community where everyone feels valued, everyone feels understood, and everyone feels integral to that collective success. Before I go this morning, I'm going to see if I can find Satya's words again. I am me. There's no one else in the world like me. Everything that comes from me is genuinely mine. I own everything that's within me, my body, my feelings, my mouth, my voice, and all my actions, both for others and for myself. My fantasies, my dreams, my hopes, and my fears all belong to me. All my triumphs and successes, all my failures and mistakes. Since I possess everything within me, I can understand myself and be friends with myself in all my parts. I know that there are aspects of me that puzzle me and many others that I do not yet know. But as long as I'm friendly and loving, I can confidently and hopefully seek solutions to the puzzles and ways to find out more about myself. No matter how I appear or sound, no matter what I do or say, and everything I think and feel at this moment is genuinely me. If later, some parts of how I looked, sounded, thought, and felt turned to be unfitting, I can discard that which is unfitting, keep the rest, and invest something new for that which I discarded. Invent, rather. I can see, hear, feel, think, and speak. I have all the tools I need to survive, to be close to others, and to be productive, and to find meaning and order in the world of people and things. I own myself, and therefore I can design myself. I am me, and I am okay. I began with the idea that belonging in business, belonging to self, belonging in the world is a symbiotic relationship. And if it wasn't for my colleague who happens to have not made it here this morning, probably because of LinkedIn and clicking and opening and all those things, I wouldn't have remembered it was Saturday. That doesn't mean I'm a failure. What it means is that I've had a new week, a week of new things in new places with new people, doing new processes and understanding new happenings. I felt a little disconnected. But of course, we know that we are intrinsically connected, not only to ourselves, but to each other and to whatever mission that you have for this world. You know, my mission has to be bigger than me. For me to continue, even though I felt poorly this morning, even though I'll be honest, I was quite poorly, I was quite sick. And even though I had to go back to sleep for an hour to overcome that, my mission is bigger than me. Yes, I didn't feel too clever, but the fact that I was reminded it was Saturday morning meant I just got on with it, because that creates trust and resilience. It means that I can trust myself to turn up whatever's happening, pretty much. Obviously, there are times. And I can become resilient through the act of just keeping on, keeping on. We're all part of a larger system, which is akin to stars in a constellation, where every element is interconnected. In business, that's the intricate web of relationships that shape our sense of belonging within the organizational cosmos. My team's been growing, and I'm not going to go on forever, but my team's been growing. I've gone from one person in the last 2 years to a dozen now. I'm hoping for a baker's dozen. That'd be good. I like the number 13. I like numbers. But as I grow that system, I have to understand that that intricate web is delicate and also strong, that it's our interconnectedness between us that allows for those times when one of us is undulating a little, another is feeling under the weather, another has family challenges. It's through this understanding and this self-awareness that I can enhance my leadership. I can help others see me and hear me and feel me and sense me. I apologized to my team yesterday because yesterday morning I was abrupt. I was frightened, is what I was. I was scared. I was nervous. I felt unsettled. I felt like I wasn't enough anywhere. And that translated into not being particularly cheerful and being a little abrupt. And I felt it. I felt it in the meeting. I felt it amongst us. And I apologized after it to everyone separately. I feel that when we rumble with vulnerability, when we realize our part to play in those interactions, and when we can stand up and be authentically exactly who we are, then I think that fosters a deeper understanding in not only myself, but in my interaction with others and them in themselves. So this week has not been easy. Self-belonging isn't easy. Understanding the dramas that we play out, the dramas of ourselves, of our families, of our colleagues, of every story that we tell ourselves is not the easiest thing to navigate. But I think that when we realize that we are intrinsically connected, when it's understood that everything we do is essentially winging it, everybody's winging it. They really are. I don't care what qualifications they've got. There's always elements of the day when we're winging it. That's what creativity and authenticity is. So I want to thank you this morning for being around. I have some coaching to do today because I am with the local authority during the week. I have some coaching sessions up until early this afternoon, and then I get to write assignments on Sunday this week. Don't worry, I'm doing some fun things. I'm going away next weekend in celebration of Valentine's Day, and I'm very much looking forward to that. And of course, next week I have the fantastic theatre event on Valentine's Day itself. What a week! I get to be with the individuals that I support. I get to be in a new job. I get to undertake some drama therapy, and I get to be with you. I get to be with you here, and I get to be with you on Monday mornings in MJ's house. There will be a post out later, 6 o'clock every Monday morning, in readiness for coming over to my coach's event at 7 on LinkedIn. So we're in MJ's house at 6 o'clock on a Monday morning, where we'll be talking about all things connected. And on Monday night, then in inclusion at 7 o'clock, we jump into our inclusion room on Clubhouse at 7 o'clock, and then over to our Zoom channel at 7:30, which is always a really great hour and a half when we work together, wrangle. We do that wrangling with each other. We do that interconnectedness and rumbling with our vulnerability together, face to face, which is always great. That's always a great meet. So whether you're here in Belonging in Business or whether you join us in MJ's house on a Monday morning at 6 o'clock bright and early, I'm always up earlier than that, but 6 o'clock's a great time. If you've ever read The Miracle Morning, you'll know why. 5 a.m. Miracle Morning. I suggest you go and read it if you haven't. You can change your lives by changing your morning. It means you go to bed quite early though, so no late partying, dancing in the town, I'm afraid. Not if you achieve the Miracle Morning. Have a look at that. I hope you have had a great time this morning. I hope your weekend is phenomenal. I hope that when you wing it this weekend, you'll be thinking about how you connect with the other people in your life. I've winged it this morning. I didn't really write myself notes. I got my book. I listened to what my heart said, and I moved ahead. I hadn't even prepared because, of course, I hadn't remembered it was Saturday. So I think that although preparation is key to prevent piss poor performance, I also think that allowing ourselves to explore our consciousness and trust in the fact that we are enough right here, right now, and that what we know is what we know. Reading it doesn't always work as well as being it. So I have been Mandy-Jayne. I've been in Belonging in Business, and we have been going just short of an hour. I have some work to do, and so I'm going to disappear just a little bit early. Not something I'm going to get into the habit of in these next 5 months, but something I am going to do right now. I'm just going to, before I go, pop along the bottom, if I can see that. There we go. Our GoFundMe. You can see that I am part of Inclusion. Our logo is at the top right-hand corner. And I'm the founder of Accessibility Partners and Inclusion. Inclusion is a charitable endeavour that helps those people that haven't moved into workfulness yet to badger the government. Essentially, inclusion works towards inclusion for all, whether that's in terms of transport or workfulness or welfare benefits or access to whatever it is in society. We're even talking about access to the beach right now, because there is a way of accessing the beach, not only if you've got a 4x4 wheelchair like me or an Omeo. I think everybody should have access to the sea, right? It's important that we can all get to sea swim. That's something that we're doing right now. And inclusion actually is the reason that Accessibility Partners is doing as well as it is, because we've helped, hundreds of people move into workfulness, move through workfulness and access the things that they need in workfulness. The fund is going along the bottom of this screen, and we're raising £10,000. We're nearly there. Why? Well, because if you're a disabled person and you start in business, unless you make the minimum income guarantee in the first year, which is just shy of £7,000, then your access to work is stopped. That means all of the support and the help that you get to go to work is stopped. Not only is it stopped, though, you're barred for 5 years. That's got to change. But until it does, we're going to make sure that those disabled entrepreneurs who are going into business that require that support, that the first one gets the tune of £10,000, which includes their minimum income guarantee and our coaching until access to work get here, so that they can't be barred from the access to work support that they so desperately need. We shouldn't have to do this. I shouldn't have to raise money for disabled people to be given what they need to go to work and succeed. But unfortunately, it's still unfair. There's even a cap on the amount that I can award to someone or get for somebody. And if I've got somebody that's deaf and blind and they happen to be a psychologist, which has happened for me, a deaf-blind psychologist, getting their support in the money that government gives us is very, very challenging. Everybody should be allowed to be a taxpayer, and Inclusion have been fantastic in helping us do that. And now we have helped, Accessibility Partners has helped over 200 people move into more than that, but definitely 200 into self-employment. Our aim was 100 last year, and we've smashed that out of the ballpark, and it's only February. We've doubled it, and it's February. So I say set your intentions, people, because when we do, then we move towards them. Just like my Saturday mornings, I intended to be here. I am. And now this is laid down, it's recorded, it's done, it's out, it's there, it's evolving. My thinking is already evolving for next week. So when I go to my drama therapy day, I definitely will be ready to rumble. I hope you're ready to rumble. Have a great week. It's going to be a great week. We're already going into the second week in February. Can you believe? Where did January go? We will be in December before you know it. Make sure in the dash between here and Christmas that you put your mind to doing something new, something exciting, a way of learning for you to dance in your reign as we investigate how we can belong to ourselves in business and to each other. I hope that you're going to go and look at Constellations, have a look at Satir, have a look at drama therapy, and go explore yourselves, because it's the most interesting story you're ever going to find. Take care, everybody. Have an amazing, amazing day. Bye-bye.